you will see a great performance from Jaron Ennis. And then after that, I mean, we've already signed our end of the deal to fight Vergil Ortiz. You know, we sat in a room with Golden Boy, the future pound-for-pound #1 in the sport. But we need to prove it against the top names. We just did that at welterweight, and now we need to do it at 154.
Finally getting what it had been demanding, Jaron Boots Ennis versus Vergil Ortiz Jr., announced by Eddie Hearn.
With Oscar De La Hoya, with Eric Gomez, and DAZN, we talked about a deal, we flushed it out, we agreed the deal. We then put the contract to Jaron Ennis, he signed it, and we're waiting to hear back from Vergil Ortiz. Eric Gomez called me this week and said, look, we've got our fight coming up.
When Eddie uttered the words, fans went crazy on social media. It was that type of battle that put it all on the line. Danger, competition, and history.
I know Golden Boy want to make great fights. For me, that's the best fight in the sport. But after this fight, touch wood, Boots comes through in style, you will see him. He will either fight Vergil Ortiz.
Eddie Hearn had been talking about the schedule and hype of the possible fight between Jaron Boots Ennis and Vergil Ortiz Jr. Hearn was a confident promoter of the potential in Ennis and showed trust in his fighter, as well as his anger over the fact that it had been a challenge to find the big names that would take on Ennis in the welterweight division.
Yeah, the Vergil Ortiz fight, we originally talked about it for January, but obviously he's fighting in November, so it doesn't really matter. January, February, March, you know, that first quarter of Q1 of 2026, perfect.
Bozy Ennis, the father and trainer of Jaron Boots Ennis, ranted following a knockout victory of his son over Lima. He clarified that he had warned Jaron not to fritter in the ring, but to enter and make a strong statement, and that is what he did. Bozy stressed that this performance strained the rest of the division, and the message that Jaron delivered in the post-fight call-out was clear. He wanted to have all champions with belts in their hands.
No, but I told Boots not to go out there and play around. Go out there and make a statement. He made the statement.
He did. Now the pressure on every boxing fan's mind is going to be what name is next.
We wait. You heard what he said in the ring?
Call out everybody.
All right, there you go.
Ideally,
we don't care. We want whoever got them belts.
Bozy Ennis turned to the next task with Vergil Ortiz Jr., which he was completely convinced that Jaron could handle. He explained the style of Ortiz as being ideally adapted to Ennis, and he called it tailor-made and proposed that the forward charge and aggression of Ortiz would go right into the strengths of Jaron. Bozy reminded everybody that the fans had been witness to just a tiny fraction of what his son was capable of doing, and made allusions to the fact that there was more to come.
Vergil got to get past Luke. That's what he got to get past Luke.
But there was an agreement already made for both of them.
Okay, I wonder if he don't get past Luke, what about who we gonna fight him for?
Vergil's style is tailor-made for Boots.
All the styles are tailor-made for Boots. But like I said, y'all didn't see nothing yet, man. You know what I mean? I told you don't go out there and play. Make a mistake, like I told you.
Much better at 154, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, what? He had 147 for what? 10 years, man. 9, 10 years. It was about time. He only 28. About time to move on.
Jaron Boots Ennis did not take long before sending a message to the boxing world with a definitive message after his overwhelming win. He announced that he was willing to go up in weight and challenge the largest names at 154 pounds. He was, however, obsessed with Vergil Ortiz Jr., the match that the fans were eager to see.
But I want Vergil Ortiz next, and if we can't get Vergil Ortiz next, I heard that Baby Cub was calling me out too. Charlo, he can get it next. Fundora. What's his name? Matchroom?
Jaron Boots Ennis did not take long before sending a message to the boxing world with a definitive message after his overwhelming win. He announced that he was willing to go up in weight and challenge the largest names at 154 pounds. He was, however, obsessed with Vergil Ortiz Jr., the match that the fans were eager to see.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bakran has just responded to Jaron Boots Ennis' message after his fight. Check it out. He's working out. He's getting ready. And let me know what y'all think about this matchup. Jaron Boots Ennis going out to get the IBF title. You know, there's a rehydration on there. Will it matter?
Richardson Hitchens shared his thoughts on Jaron Boots Ennis' recent performance against Lima, praising the way Ennis transitioned into the 154-pound division. He highlighted how Ennis handled the move with confidence and composure, making an immediate impact without losing any of his trademark speed or precision. He said, "That was a great introduction to 154. He carried and he didn't stay. So congrats to Boots." Richardson Hitchens proceeded by giving his own ideas of what might happen to Jaron Boots Ennis following his dominating performance. He proposed that Ennis challenge either the victor of the next fight between Vergil Ortiz Jr. and Erickson Lubin, or perhaps fight Sebastian Fundora, fights that would pit Ennis with some of the best in the 154-pound division.
I want to see him fight either the winner of Vergil and Erickson Lubin, or maybe like Dora or somebody. That'd be a good fight.
And what about for yourself?
I'm back top of next year, defending my world title in a big fight.
Eddie Hearn had also shown enthusiasm and great confidence in Jaron Ennis before the planned bout with Vergil Ortiz Jr. He called the fight exciting and significant to the boxing fans, without mincing words that he believed Ennis was the one who would win the match. Hearn also acknowledged that it had been challenging to get Ennis's big fights, citing the challenge of getting the best opponents to deal with him at the welterweight division. "I love the fight with Vergil Ortiz. I think it's a brilliant fight. I am so confident Jaron Ennis wins that fight. So confident. And listen, maybe I'm a little bit deluded, and hopefully we can get fights like that over the line. It's not easy getting Jaron the fights against the big names. We struggled at 147. Eddie Hearn appeared to be visibly angry during a hot press conference when one of the journalists asked him a question about the fight between Vergil Ortiz Jr. versus Jaron Boots Ennis. His response depicted his love for the sport and his need to protect his fighters and his work as a marketer, and it was obvious that he was entirely devoted to making the fight happen regardless of the issues.
Guys that you would pick out.
Mertzalayev, Fundora, Zayas, Abu, anyone with a belt.
Yeah, but are any of those guys realistic options?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've noticed you've asked me a lot of questions this week. Everyone's been generally negative, so we're going to put a positive spin on it. I'm the best in the business. He's the best in the business.
Facts.
I'm going to do my job. He's going to do his job.
Facts.
And I've got to do my job because I don't want to miss this opportunity to watch this guy beat everybody. And I'm going to enjoy every moment of watching him become the pound-for-pound number one.
Yes, yes.
At the press conference, when one of the reporters questioned him about the alleged tense relationship between him, Dana White, and the executives of the TKO Boxing, Eddie became hot-tempered. He responded by labeling the discussion as nonsense.
In boxing, the majority of the revenue from the show goes to the fighter. In MMA, the majority of the revenue from the show goes to the promoter. Good luck to him. I wouldn't moan, but that's not how we work in boxing. And I'm not interested in a fake belt. I'm not interested in changing the Muhammad Ali Act. I'm not interested in changing the shape of the ring or the rules. What I'm interested in is the greatness of the sport of boxing.
It was clear that he did not want to get into corporate politics and cross-promotional drama. He was in the business of delivering. And now that Ennis versus Ortiz lay on the table, he had demonstrated just that.
And what you're looking at here is the greatness of the sport of boxing. I want to see fighters like Boots, who I believe can go down as generational greats, like Hagler, like Hearns, like Whittaker, like all these great fighters. He is of the same ability. And our belts matter.
Jaron Boots Ennis had been frustrated in attempts to get major fights. Big names at 147 and 154 tended to avoid him, despite him being one of the most talented and avoided fighters in the boxing industry, because he was pushed to the fringes of the negotiation, as the rest of the team secured easier assignments. Both the promoters and the fans admitted the difficulty. Everyone knew that Boots was elite, yet not that many were ready to share the ring and prove that point. Oscar De La Hoya was as unconvinced once about the highly anticipated fight between Jaron Boots Ennis and Vergil Ortiz Jr. He described that his team had already made contact to make the fight happen, but alleged that the other party backed out on the negotiations. De La Hoya clarified that he would, in fact, not take the talk seriously until an official agreement was signed in writing, which made him feel frustrated with the manner in which the talks had been conducted.
We all know Boots doesn't want to fight Vergil. I mean, that's what happened, right? We called them out, we had a fight, and, then they backtracked. So until I see something on paper that Boots wants to fight Vergil, then I'll believe it.
That time, Oscar De La Hoya answered that talks and calls outs on both sides had been active but had gone sour at the moment that the team of Ennis appeared to back out of the talks. He did not theorize much as to how the pullback took place, but said that he thought Vergil Ortiz Jr. was the best in the 154-pound division.
Everybody was calling each other out, and then all of a sudden they pulled off the Vergil, train. So, I mean, who knows what the reasons are, but look, Vergil's the man at 154. That's the bottom line. So.
But lately, it seems that he switched his keys. He even flew to Twitter and openly requested the much-anticipated fight between Ennis and Vergil Ortiz Jr. The action was an indication that De La Hoya was now prepared to go on with the fight, and he would like to see it happen in the near future. His post sparked conversation once again, as he displayed new energy towards a confrontation that would perhaps mark the new age at 154 pounds. He wrote, "Not to be an ass, but can someone please educate the educator? Who is Boots fighting tonight?" He tweeted, "Only one name at 154, Vergil Ortiz." In the case of Ennis himself, he had been hewing his own way. His battle with Uzmias, a hard rival of Eastern Europe, was a statement. Ennis demonstrated the type of composure that alienated him with the rest of the welterweight pack. Claressa Shields had praised Boots for the good performance and then looked towards the so-called fight against Vergil Ortiz Jr. Shields and said that she believed that Ennis would stay calm and be able to play his part properly when they finally fought.
Big Kabar, calm down. Congrats to Boots on his first round knockout. I can't wait to see him fight against Vergil Ortiz next, because I know that he gonna do what he do, so calm down.
Claressa Shields went on to compliment Jaron Ennis on how he did and how he handled himself in the boxing arena. She has shown a real appreciation of his talent, admitting that she enjoyed fighters who were ready to challenge themselves with the very best and demonstrate their excellence.
Boots that guy. He did his thing. Hey, I like Boots as a fighter. And I want to see him fight the best and prove his greatness. That's what it's about. It's about proving your greatness. So, great job for him tonight. I ain't no Boots hater. I know y'all be like, oh, I love Terrence Crawford. I do. That's my pound for pound #1 fighter. But I still got a lot of respect for Boots. But now back to what I was saying. Spoke to Sugar Ray Leonard about you. Oh, Sugar Ray Leonard loves me. I love him too.
Eddie Hearn gave a long-term prediction of Jaron Boots Ennis, as he said he could see him take over the 154-pound division and consequently entangle himself with Terrence Crawford. Hearn was sure that Boots could be able to combine all titles and be the unquestionable champion at the weight. After that mission was done, he felt that a possible mega fight with Crawford was the natural follow-up. A generation-to-generation crossing of the coordinator boxing could be.
That's live inside 6 rounds. For sure. Oh, we're going to destroy him.
Yes, yes.
And then. I know there's a few cameras. Say what we're going to do. We're going to unify at 54, at least, right? Hopefully undisputed. Then we're going to go at 60.
Yeah.
And then we deal with that other fella.
Yeah. Let's go get
He's still hanging around.
We'll
deal with him as well.
They in the way.
We'll deal with him as well.
Ennis has been compared to Terrence Crawford on several occasions due to their comparable switch hitting, reflexes, and in-the-ring dominance. Before his battle with Lima Jaron, Boots Ennis firmly denied any comparisons with Terrence Crawford, otherwise known as Bud. Their similar switch hitting as well as their supremacy in the ring had been attracting parallels between the two by many fans and analysts. Nevertheless, Ennis clarified that he respected Crawford, but he would like to be identified as his own person with his own accomplishments.
Eddie says that you're the heir to that throne. He said you're the next Terrence Crawford in America. Do you see yourself fighting him at some point?
I'm the first Jaron Boots Ennis. You know, I ain't nobody else. You know, I'm me.
Shakur Stevenson entered the fray of the debate on whether Ennis or Terrence Crawford is more comparable to the other. As much as he could say that Ennis was a talented and dangerous fighter, Stevenson ensured that the successes and experience of Crawford placed him a step further.
And, you know, obviously we're here in Philadelphia, Boots Ennis, Eddie, a couple other people, you know, called Boots the natural successor to Terrence Crawford, and obviously I know your relationship with him. Do you feel that high on Boots as well, or?
Hell yeah, I think Boots is a hell of a fighter. I don't know about the natural sensation, whatever that is to Terrence Crawford, I think Boots is his own fighter, Terrence is his own fighter, but I think they both hell of a fighters. I've been around Boots for years, and he's the truth.
Brian Bomac McIntyre, the longtime trainer and strategist of Terrence Crawford, firmly dismissed the idea of a fight between Crawford and Jaron "Boots" Ennis happening anytime soon. He made it clear that Crawford had other priorities and wasn't focused on Ennis at the moment.
No, he don't bring nothing to the table. He got our leftovers. Why would Bud want to go backwards? I want to go backwards. Bud looking for bigger and better fights, so where he can etch his name in the concrete forever. I don't know, because I really don't look at none of the welterweights since we did clear the division out. I'm done.
Also, this is one of the fights wanted by fans and enthusiasts. Sonny Edwards provided his sincere thoughts about the increasing discussion of Jaron Ennis being the next Terrence Crawford. He acknowledged that the possible confrontation between Ennis and Crawford would be a thrilling one, but not yet something that could take place in the near future.
Similar to Crawford, neither of them put a great deal of effort into selling the fight. They just bring the fight, and it has its benefits and it has its cons, but I think he's that good. Will there be a fighter that comes to maybe disrupt him? Who knows? They haven't for Crawford, so if you're talking about him as a next successor, but I don't know. I know like they're close in certain ways, but right now that's seemingly like one of the fights that you'd look to make.
Edwards claimed that the thought of the fight was interesting to him, but he had no idea what it would be. I could only hope that it would happen in the present. His remarks were full of curiosity and admiration for the two fighters, and were full of the doubt that came with such a major event.
I think he's astronomically talented. I think he's a very, very good fighter. He's got dangerous hands, but that's not his biggest sell. He's very elusive. He's very active. He's proactive even. He's constantly making his opponents do something, making them pay for mistakes, range, timing, distance, balance, footwork. He kind of ticks all the boxes. He's one of those fighters that come into the ring with pretty much everything.
And there you have it. Bomac made it loud and clear. Crawford's not chasing Boots, and that door isn't opening anytime soon. But in a sport where timing is everything, fans know stories can change fast. Will Boots keep winning until there's no way to deny him? Or will Crawford move on, leaving that dream fight in the dust? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Crawford versus Ennis will ever happen? Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and stay locked in for every twist and turn in boxing's most talked about rivalry.